What's up, everybody? Coffee's a little strong today. Ooh. I didn't put as much creamer as I normally do. It's nice and strong. I like it. Very coffee flavored. Coffee. I hope you guys are doing good. Hey, four name girl. Four name girl. Four name girl. How's it going? See, the plants are looking good. The OG Kush is chilling. Um, huh. I hope we are live. Everywhere else, I mean, geez, we've got one person here. It says I've only got one viewer. I guess my notifications are no longer valid over there on YouTube or something. Let me see. Am I getting any notifications here? Nay's Garden, Hal Frackers, yes. Yep, all my notifications went out. Oh, people just don't want to watch. Let me see how you are. Okay. Wow, man. Wow. Hello. My notifications went out, guys. Where's everybody? You know I don't like to do a show unless there's people here. Where's all my peeps? Nick, hello, Nick. All right, maybe it's just a little slow start today. Yes, I am a little late for the 420 show. But you know, sometimes it happens. I'm not too sure that if I'd gone live an hour ago, there would have been any more people here with 4 people here right now. I wonder who the other 2 people are. We got Debbie and Nick. Who are the other 2 people? 4 people. Oh, it's terrible. Now we're down to 3 people, and one of them's not saying who they are. And nobody is saying anything from YouTube yet. Huh. Am I connecting to YouTube, I wonder? I don't know. Had a little bit of a show for you. We're going to talk about geothermal fracking. Many times these companies that frack, they will tell you that they're doing, oh, no, we're not fracking, we're harnessing geothermal energy. But then they'll fail to tell you that they use fracking in order to enhance the geothermal retrieval. You know, yeah, they're all happy. They'll find some little a little steam out, you know, and they'll get all happy and they'll be like, yeah, that's great. It's only going to last so long, or it's only going to provide so much energy. If we really want to get down there to that energy, we got to start fracking, and that's what they do. They'll pump the poisonous water down there, and that poisonous water has to go somewhere, man. You love the grow update. Thank you, Nick. I've got Nick and Debbie. That's it. The 2 of you. Huh. It's the Nick and Deb show. Wow, that is the first time I've seen that camera disconnect in 2 days. Isn't that crazy? That camera has never disconnected. Somebody's in my grow. I better go down there with my gun. 3, 2, 1. Let's see if it reconnects here. Oh. Who else here? I got Nick and Debbie so far, and it says that there's 5 others. 5 of you who cannot say anything on the stream, or 4 of you now. Huh. I guess people are popping in on YouTube or something, but nobody's saying anything from YouTube yet. You guys are scared of me? That's cool. You're scared of me? Scared I'm going to bite you? Well, I've lost connection with my freaking camera. No big deal. But it's kind of weird. It just popped off all of a sudden. And yet, I see the camera right here. No problem, pops right up. Huh. It's possible the power went out down there. I'm going to have to check that. So I can't get any verification that I am live on YouTube, huh? And the only two people to say anything are Nick and Debbie, who I really appreciate, the two of you. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn off my camera. It's not working for me. It says I've got 8 people, but only 2 of you have said anything. Hey, thank you, Bubble. Thank you. Good. Okay, good. YouTube's up and running. Okay. I don't know why nobody's saying anything or nobody's coming on the show, but it'll be the Nick and Debbie show. It's the Nick and Debbie show. The show's for Nick, and the show is for Deb. It's the Nick and Debbie show. Nick and Debbie, Nick and Deb. That is it. There's no one else here. So it's the Nick and Debbie show. Not a single other person can show that they can chat at that. No? Oh, the cat's right here. Cat, I fed you. I want you to know that. I don't know where you came from. Dan, make it stop. It's the Nick and Debbie and Dan show. Dan Carroll, Bubble Carroll, as if I wouldn't know. This song's for Dan Carroll since he loves my singing so much. Make it stop, he says. I like that. Make it stop. YouTube viewer Diana Michelle B. Michelle B. What's up, Michelle B? Stephen Culbertson dropping a 3. We got Michelle B. Greg Butts and BJ E. What's up, buddy? Nick Brown, I needed a show this evening, bro. It was funeral day. All right. Dan Carroll, Transparency. All right, here we go. You guys that are sharing this, Nick Brown, Stephen Culbertson, this is for you. I really appreciate when you guys share this video. It's the only way we're going to get people here today, guys. Please share like crazy right now. Cheers. $60 outside. I got to go outside and get some of that 60-degree air in my lungs. Oh, yeah. I had a bullfrog in my pond. It died. unfortunately. That's what I needed. I needed that in my life. Euphoria. What a hit. Hit me. Holy shit. So I saw a post on Twitter, it showed them tap into some volcano and they're blasting steam out. And they say, hey, look at us. We're getting geothermal energy off this volcano. And people are on there cheering it on, going, yay, geothermal energy. And I go, yeah, it's all yay until you find out they're really just fracking. Somebody came on there and said, geothermal and fracking are two different things. I was like, yeah, it's true. They use fracking so they can obtain geothermal energy. They use fracking to enhance their geothermal mining. They'll stick a tap into the goddamn steam and it'll start pouring out. And then they'll realize that's it. That's all they get. And if they want to get more, they got to frack. You got to crack it open, man. You got to shoot chemicals down there. You gotta satisfy your bottom line, man. You gotta pay your employees. You gotta get more energy. So go get the poison water and start shipping it down into the fucking ground. Who's gonna know? They're gonna call it geothermal, and everybody will smile and hug. There are clean alternative forms of energy out there, but geothermal, while it sounds great on paper until you realize that they're gonna frack to do it, it's just as damaging. Causes earthquakes, poisons the groundwater. Water's gonna be a commodity soon. It's gonna start running scarce. We're gonna wish we never poisoned our water with frack water. We're gonna need that water. Rogi's good. He's sitting right over there on the couch. You guys, remember when you're reading stuff, articles and whatever, and you see that word geothermal, they love to throw that in your face. They think they're gonna fool you until you find out that they're fracking to do it. It's very hard to find that information on the internet because big corporations like Google, they like to run interference for big corporations like Exxon, BP, Mobil. Yeah, they do. They'll hide that information from you. Oh, I found it. I just had to type the right sequence of words into the Google search. And lo and behold. Oh, did you guys see my post on Twitter? Or are you not following me on Twitter? Well, for those of you who didn't see it, it says this. It says, fracking enhances geothermal by making cracks in hot rocks where none existed, allowing heat to be harvested from Earth's interior practically anywhere. Although this reduces the total power produced because of the need to pump water through the system. Yeah, and they're not telling you what kind of water they're having to pump through the system. That it's not really water, it's fucking toxic chemicals. In fact, it's gotten so bad, motherfucking cuck bitches like Barack Obama and Donald Trump made it so that these corporations don't even have to tell you what they're putting in their frack water, poison water. Yeah, their toxic fucking stew that they pump down in the ground. Yeah, lovely, lovely Barack Obama, ass licker of Wall Street, and your hero Donald Trump have taken away all the regulations from these fracking corporations. We have no idea what they're pumping down there. You know, it could be the blood of young children. You wouldn't even fucking know because they don't have to report it anymore to the government. Nice, huh? You know, the IRS will come after you and audit someone who makes $45,000 a year. But they'll allow these fucking corporations to pump the blood of children into the ground, you know, to poison it. I mean, come on. Eddie, welcome home, buddy. Trendy orca in the ocean of knowledge that comes out of your mouth. That comes out of your mouth. I don't know if I like the wording of that, but that's kind of funny. The ocean of knowledge. Oh, you're funny. All right, so get me some people here, Trendy Orca. Retweet this on Twitter. Get some Twitter folks here. And we'll smoke. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. You're welcome, Eddie. It's my pleasure, man. You know, I had one of my shows got pulled down by YouTube and they gave it back to me. You know, I appealed it and they were like, yeah, there's no dangerous or harmful acts in this video. I was talking about corporations getting away with stuff and all they have to do is just pay money. It's like, hey man, corporations have get out of jail free card. It's called money. And if you have a lot of money, then you stay out of jail and then you can just keep doing the crime. Because just pay the fine. You know, you're not going to jail. And we did a whole show about that the other day. It's about corporations, you know, and class action lawsuits. You say even though the people are suing these corporations for millions and billions of dollars, that corporations don't even feel it. It doesn't stop them from doing what they're doing. Why? Why? No prison. That's why. You start locking people up in jail, you start locking people up in prison, and you watch how fast these other motherfuckers start towing the line. Watch how fast they start obeying the law. And watch how few of these class action lawsuits get initiated in the future. Because these CEOs don't want to go to jail. They don't mind when their corporation has to pay you billions of dollars, but they'll mind if they have to sit in a jail cell for fucking 15, 20 years like they fucking deserve. So, hey man, let's bring back jail for people like that. What do you guys say? Let's put Wall Street in jail. You know? Let's put you know, people like you know, people that jack up the prices of medical supplies. I forgot that kid's name. You know, people who manipulate stocks intentionally to ruin people financially. People like Elon Musk. Hey, put Elon in jail. Let's put Elon Musk in jail for manipulating cryptocurrency. Hey, would you go to jail for manipulating the American dollar? Oh, you goddamn right you would. Um, and people that are lying to America's faces on national television, I think they should go to jail for lying. There should be a law that if you are a representative of the people and you lie publicly and you get caught lying publicly, you go to jail. You want to end the lying? You want to stop this Trump-esque mentality from that all of these, that this guy from Florida, Matt Gaetz, he just went public telling everybody that he was going to get a job over there at OAN or Newsmax. Both of them came out and said, dude, we wouldn't fucking hire you. We're not going to touch you with a 10-foot pole. You're a fucking child molester. Are you fucking kidding me? But Matt Gaetz, in his mind, he's thinking just like Donald Trump. I'm just going to ignore what people are saying. They're not throwing him in jail. He's not sitting in jail. So why not just keep lying? Why not just keep lying and making money doing it? Because that's what he's doing. And there's a lot of people that still support him that are throwing him money. It's a federal crime. Well, when you're lying to people and it's causing them harm and it's hurting them, there should be punishment for that and it should be jail time. Oh, well, you intentionally lied. You said you offered some product, and you gave it to people and they put it on their skin and their skin started rotting off. You need to go to fucking jail. You're a fucking liar. Where's the cutoff for that? Is it because your skin didn't rot off, but somebody still lied to you that they don't have to go to jail because your skin didn't rot off? Lying under oath? Yeah. Well, Sean, what I'm saying is we don't hold these people accountable anymore. The the people who are supposed to prosecute liars, political liars, they've gone away. Where are those lawyers at? It was like we used to have special counsel, special lawyers, internal affairs, the FBI. These entities used to be the ones that would supposedly work for the American people to hold politicians accountable when they lie and their lies are hurting Americans or people abroad. It's, hey man, you guys are killing folks. Where's the recourse? Where's the process? Where's the justice? We've got 3 branches of government that are supposed to all keep each other in check. So when Donald Trump goes on national television and he lies to America and says that I almost called it Ebola, that COVID will be gone by Easter, where's the other 2 branches of government to punish Donald Trump for saying that publicly? They just sit there and tweet about it. There's no remedy. There's no legal course of action to be taken. Well, I'm sick of being lied to. And you guys know how I feel about when people lie to me. I get really angry and I start yelling and screaming about it. Maybe you guys don't mind when people lie to you. There's a lot of folks out there that watch Ben Shapiro and he lies to his audience all day. Basically just name anybody on the right that just fucking lies and lies and lies to their audience and pushes a narrative that's bullshit. They love them. Their audiences come crawling back for more. People love being lied to. It's comfortable for them. And this needs to change. It's time for people to grow up and stop accepting the lies. It's time for people to start putting their feet down and saying, we've had enough, and we're not going to pay you any more attention. I heard that the Young Turks is losing their audience. That's fantastic, and they should. They're a bunch of liars. You know, this is what, when Alex Jones lied to his audience, people should stop watching him. You know, when Steven Crowder or Ben Shapiro or you know, Tucker Carlson or Sean Hannity are, you know, talking about how great Donald Trump is, and people are just like, I mean, you know, we hate the liberals and we love triggering the liberals. You know, Kyle Klinsky said something about this earlier. He made a lot of sense. He's like, but at what point are you going to sacrifice your own sanity or your own reputation of being on your own credit so that you can shame liberals? Is it that important to you? Are you a fucking child? Hey, Dom. So hopefully people will start getting fed up with being lied to. And you will start ignoring people like Donald Trump, and you will start ignoring people like Matt Gaetz, and you will start ignoring people like Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens and Laura Ingraham, you know, and you will start ignoring, you know, Diamond and Silk and Donald Trump and his children on Instagram, and you'll start ignoring, um, you know, people like Nancy Pelosi and the Squad, you know, and Chuck Schumer, and give them no more of your attention. They deserve none of it, and hold all of them accountable, because that's their job. You make them work for you, and you don't owe them shit. You don't owe them your vote. You don't owe them your support. Just you tell them that you're the boss, and this is what they need to do for you, period. And you hold them accountable when they don't do it. That's all. When people start realizing that you don't have to ingratiate yourselves to politicians, that you don't owe them anything, that's when you're going to start seeing some change. You know, you need to stop. You see all these people on the internet that are pumping up the Squad, you know, or Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. I've seen it. Call them on their bullshit. Call them on their. Don't be scared to do it. Just because you see a million people supporting them like sheep on that thread, be the one person to stand out and go, no, you're wrong. This is just a lying narrative. Joe Biden is a monster and everybody knows it. You know, Nancy Pelosi is a monster and everybody knows it. Everybody on the fucking right is a monster and everybody knows it. Joe Manchin is a fucking monster and everyone knows it. You know, look at what he does. So realize it, you know, and don't take shit from them anymore. And at some point, you know, Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell and Joe Manchin and Matt Gaetz and Donald Trump and all of them, they're all going to get yanked out of their homes and they're going to get strung up like they deserve. And that's how America's going to deal with being lied to. They're going to get so sick of, because these politicians aren't going to change. They're going to keep lying. People are going to get fed up with it, man. People will get fed up. I know it. And you know, I'd love to see it happen. You know, I'd love to see these people yanked out of their fucking homes by mobs of people that are sick of the lies. We're sick of being lied to. And, you know, all politicians will have to answer to the mobs for their fucking lying. Right on, Sean. Villy and Neil is currently tripping. Really? Maybe I can give you some trippiness. Wouldn't that be cool? Let me see. I would have to go like this. That's crazy. It's like being at the barbershop. Trippy shit. So, let me just collect my thoughts here for a second. Oh, let me do a dab. Top of the hour. How about that? That'll help. That'll help everything. Man, it only takes about 15 seconds to get this thing done. Cheers, guys. If you guys are sharing this in large groups for me on Facebook, thank you. If you're retweeting this, thank you. Karen, thank you. Eddie Haynes, thank you. You guys. Stephen Culbertson, thank you. Cheers. Hey, Tula. Great idea, says Sean. What, doing a dab? Doing a dab, dude? So glad I got this door open. Let's do a little. Let's read a couple of tweets on Twitter. That'll be fun. All right. What's going on in the Twitter sphere? April 13th, when Doge hit 12 cents. It went from 4 cents to 12 cents in a day. Saw this earlier, and I'd like to ask too, what radicalized you? Was there a certain point, or was it gradually? What radicalized me? Jimmy Dore. And Rob Mulligan radicalized me. It was Jimmy Dore and Robert Mulligan. Let's see. This is funny. Okay, Rose says, okay, I determined the way in which I'm a hypocrite, and it stems back to my false conception that my actions do not impact other people because I don't matter enough to those people for my actions to hurt them. Man, everybody hurts everybody. That's one thing you should remember. You have more power than you give yourself credit for. Be nice and try not to hurt anybody. My coworker said I gave off Republican vibes, and it hurt my feelings. So I blew their mind with my Twitter feed. Nice, man. That's fucking awesome. I'm telling you, Americans are better than Joe Manchin. Didn't I just mention Joe Manchin when I said people need to be yanked out of their homes? Isn't that funny? You guys should all be on Twitter, man. Twitter's great. I fucking love it. Dude, this person's got 48,000 followers. And look, this is why they only get 3 likes, 1 retweet, and one thing on there. Even though they just put this up 14 minutes ago, they're not getting a lot of play. And the reason why is this. They've got 48,500 followers because they're following 51,400 people. So they go out of their way to just go follow a massive amount of people, and these people follow them back, and none of them do anything in their feeds because they're following so many people that they don't interact with the tweets. So there's no wonder why when you look at that ratio, if you see someone and they've got 48,000 followers like this, you can't see that, can you? That's weird. Yeah, if you see someone and they've got 48,000 followers, but they're following 51,000 followers, go and look at their likes and you'll see they're really low. So just following a whole bunch of people doesn't get you action on Twitter. What you need to do is interact with people who are making sense. You like them, you retweet them when you see stuff that you like, and then you follow them. And when they see you interacting with them, those kind of people will follow you back. And those are the kind of people that will like your stuff back, that aren't following, people just to get followed back. So you'll see people like that. This guy just follows people crazily. I hate it here. Rainy days. Wow, man. People are endlessly cruel and mean. God, who the fuck are you hanging out with? Holy shit. Hey, Billy. Da Vinci gave himself laser eyes. He's the guy that was telling everybody to buy Bitcoin at $1. That's funny. See, look at this account. 49,000 followers, and she's only following 502 people back. See this? That's someone who is interacting on Twitter, who's not just following a bunch of people to be followed. Ethereum and Bitcoin can agree on things. Liz Warren is a fraud. Exactly. I love this. I love this. See, here's another one. Evan Van Ness. He's got he's got 37,000 followers and he's only following 705 people. Gary Laser Eyes. It's nice day to sit on top of a mountain and think about shit. I think that's what I'll do. I do that every day. Every day of my life, I sit up on top of a mountain. It's funny. Artsy Marxist.
On the IMF program. I think the issue of having a dual tender in a particular economy is a difficult one, and that's certainly.
Music will probably get me a copyright strike. You guys hear anything about Miami? COVID in Miami? That I guess that they had this cryptocurrency conference in Miami, and there's people that are coming out of there that are saying they're really sick. Whoa, the People's Forum. What? Is this covered live? Oh. Always writhing in pain. Oh my God. Sounds like somebody needs some triage oil. He's 7 today. Gary Laser Eyes. Looking for SeaWorld trainers to munch on. Sean, you're so funny. Dude, where do we see this? I want to see fucking Roger Waters and Aaron Mate. Dude, is there some kind of a... I'm going through here wondering if there's some kind of a... If there's some kind of a... Who wants to bury a billionaire? You know what's so funny was I just tweeted at Elon the other day, you need buried. I need to tell them that. Dude, how do we fucking see this? I know, she's like, where? If she's always writhing in pain, chronically ill, it's terrible. She follows me back, I'll offer her some free triage oil. Aaron Mate and fucking Roger Waters, dude. Let me find that shit on the goddams. I wonder if it's out there. Aaron Mate, Roger Waters. Live stream today with Roger Waters at 3. What? Oh, dude. Tune in here. Oh, what? Dude, I think I found it. Now I can bring it back to Twitter and show everybody I found it. Yeah, 2 hours and 6 minutes, guys. Holy shit, Roger Waters.
And we are
live.
Glenn
Greenwald. Oh my God, this is fucking...
Live. I'm Ben Norton, joined by Max Blumenthal, Aaron Mate, and the amazing activist and musician Roger Waters. We're all fans of his, so it's always a pleasure to be speaking with him. How are you doing today, Roger?
I live here. Thank you for asking. Oh, it's been a busy day, you know. Like most days are busy, but it's been, I don't know, the phone hasn't stopped ringing. And most of them are things where I go, fuck me, look, it's so-and-so. And I want to talk to them and I want to be involved in the whatever. I'm trying to remember what he wanted. Clive Stafford Smith, our friend from Reprieve, was one of them today. What the hell was he talking? I think he was, I can't remember what he was, but I know he wants something because that's what he's like. You know, it was Clive who a couple of years ago, I got one of his text messages, the phone went dum 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 dum, or whatever they do. And within like 2 weeks, we were on a plane to Syria to go and pick up some kids who he had taken under his enormous wings.
This wasn't like Angelina Jolie where she actually like, or Nicholas Kristoff where they like buy the kids and take them. This is like something else, right?
let me tell you this, young Blumenthal. I may be an old dotard, but I can tell the difference between Clive Stafford Smith and Angelina Jolie. She's got tits for a start.
Oh, fuck!
Otherwise, they look very similar.
Well,
man.
let's not go there, shall we?
No.
She's more a tool of the
He is
global
so unpolitically
reptilian
correct.
class.
I met once at a sort of vaguely fundraising dinner in some incredibly expensive restaurant in New York. And I'm pretty sure she made a point of never, ever even glancing at me during the whole dinner. I think I was sitting at the same table. It felt like intentional slight.
Wow.
Maybe just nervous.
She doesn't look at tankies. That's like a policy. And like,
Or maybe it wasn't political. Maybe she just has really bad taste in music.
He's fucking Roger Waters.
Oh, man.
Are you fucking kidding me?
well, George Clooney is in that whole scene too. I heard like a bunch of CIA cutouts sent him to Sudan when they started that whole color revolution operation back in the early 2000s. A friend of mine was around that humanitarian interventionist scene and told me Clooney was basically brought in, like parachuted in to be the celebrity face. Like, we need to stop Darfur. Yeah.
Which was happening at a time of growing public sympathy for the Palestinian cause, because that was around the time of the Second Intifada. And you had Bush just unconditionally supporting Israel crushing the rebellion in occupied territories, the expansion of settlements, Ariel Sharon. And all of a sudden, Darfur comes along. And now the cause celebre of Western celebrities is supposed to be Darfur. And speaking on this round, the celebrity response to the attack on Gaza. What do you guys think? I mean, Roger, I don't know. Did you pay attention to how your fellow entertainers responded this time to the massacre? Was it any different than before?
Well, normally I don't speak to fellow entertainers. That is a pie that I try and keep my finger out of, by and large. But just this last week, I've been in court a fair bit with my friend Donziger, and Susan Sarandon was there on at least two occasions, and I've never met her before, and it was a great pleasure to meet her. I have to say, I've always been a huge admirer, and so I can actually claim a bit of shoulder rubbing with a celebrity this last week. But in general, I honestly don't know what they do, and frankly, sort of with musicians, I've kind of given up. Tom York, all those years ago,
unfortunately,
from Radiohead, yeah.
4 or 5 years ago, when I was trying to explain to him that going to play music for the IDF in Tel Aviv was not a brilliant idea, for all kinds of political reasons, but also just describing your essential humanity, just don't do it, And he took exception with it. I don't think he likes being told anything very much. He's not very receptive to a measured conversation at all. He wrote me an email that I think he thought was funny, saying, and I only discovered later that he was just being sarcastic, that he was saying, that's it, he's giving up the music business, he's blah, 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 in the face of my onslaught. But he was just being snotty. And I thought, fuck you, prick. Why? Why be like that? I don't get it at all. And actually, famously on stage, and I believe in Glasgow, which was the wrong place to do it, he snarled at the audience for having misgivings about him crossing the picket line and going, wow, with his band to go and play.
He did, actually. It was a Scottish friend of mine whose mother hosted me during for a talk I did in Scotland, who's the head of the Palestine Committee in Glasgow. They brought out the Celtic AC Ultras, who always wave Palestine flags at Celtic matches. They were the Palestine
darling, Celtic.
Celtic. Sorry.
Don't call them Celtic.
I mean, we call it soccer here, so I'm really struggling with the.
I'm sure you were giving them a lecture on
Yankee
the
over here.
cleaning of sporrans or something equally close to their hearts, but nevertheless, sorry, go on.
Well, anyway, York lashed out at them. They were waving Palestinian flags, and York lashed out at them from the stage. He actually gave them the finger. He had like a little tantrum, and he also had a tantrum online about people pushing, namely led by you, pushing him towards to support BDS and not perform in Israel. And he said, "Oh well, my guitarist has a wife who is an Arab Jew or something." He pulled the like, "I have several black friends" card.
Oh.
I don't even know how it was relevant, but he had a meltdown. And can I just state my opinion that Radiohead is sonic wallpaper for the lifestyles of bourgeois office drones? I mean,
Hey,
I
I mean,
cannot stand Radiohead.
it's not my favorite band, but they have some good stuff. And I gotta say, Johnny Greenwood does good film scores, but he's very different from Tom York.
He's the one with the Israeli wife, I believe. I think it's Johnny Greenwood. It is Johnny Greenwood.
If their producer is outstanding, right?
Listen, you leave Godrich alone, poor little sod. It's not his fault. Although he does tour with what's his face? I can't even remember his name now, but the one with the funny eye from Radiohead. He tours with him. There's a duo, but I do sort of admire that. At least Tom York doesn't go out on the road calling himself Pink Floyd like some fat people.
Yes. Well, Roger, let me ask you, as a longtime champion of the Palestinian cause, I'm just wondering your thoughts on this moment now. The Palestinian cause is revived. We saw a revolt, Palestinian unity across Israel. Thoughts now that there's been this ceasefire declared?
I was very, very happy this morning to see that there is a ceasefire that has happened now, so that I said to my missus last night, I said, "Oh my God, they can actually get a night's sleep, without," because I've looked at a lot of the videos that have been going around on all the things that we all look at and where we get all our information from Ben and others, and some of the little videos of frightened children listening to gunshots and with grown-ups trying to tell them that it'll be all right and calm down, when they, of course, have no idea whether it will be all right or not. Because when some fucker's flying overhead in an F-16, dropping huge bombs and bringing down, as we know, multi-story buildings and whatever, I found myself for the last 11 days in real distress a lot of the time, because like you, all of you, but unfortunately not like most of my friends in the music industry, we find it hard to disassociate ourselves emotionally from what it must feel like to be anybody, but certainly a parent, under those circumstances, and knowing that your whole family can be blown to bits for any minute just because the settler colonial aspirations of a misguided movement, in this case called the Zionist movement, that was foisted upon you by them and others conniving together, not least the United States and the United Kingdom governments in those days, and producing the Nakba and producing all of this. And it's only getting worse. When you watch Netanyahu standing in front of the F-16 with it in the background going, we're going to make them so afraid of us that they will always doff their caps when we pass by in the street because we are the master. I mean, it has the rhetoric has such close associations with the piece of history from Europe in the 1940s that we're not allowed to mention. Because
I'm on Twitter
apparently that's the end of the conversation. Who was it who invented the thing that if you mention the Third Reich, you lose the argument? What is that syndrome?
Godwin's Law.
Godwin's Law. Thank you, Ben. I knew I could rely on at least one of you.
Yeah, where it comes from is the idea that in an argument on the internet, at some point, the argument will always devolve into accusations that the other side is Nazi Germany, the other side is Hitler.
And I
pretty
just
much
did it.
True. It's an ironclad law of the internet.
It's usually true unless the other side is NATO, in which case it's accurate to call them that.
Anyway, I didn't mean to get all kind of jokey about it by bringing up Godwin's law, in spite of the fact that I couldn't remember what it was called. It's like Overton's window. It's one of those things that you need on the tip of your tongue when you're talking.
Occam's razor.
Oh my goodness, what's that? I thought we only talked about Drake's beard clipper on purpose. Ah! I found an audience. I love that.
Yes, welcome to our manel. You'll
Hope
find
the
a
sound is
really
okay.
strong peanut gallery here. But you were saying, you were talking about your reaction to seeing the atrocities.
But you were asking a very real question, which is, you suddenly get a little blip of people going, oh, this is, and then there's a ceasefire, and they go back to reading the New York Times or whatever it is they go back to doing. And actually, nothing ever happens because the government is completely intransigent. Joe Biden doesn't suddenly go, I'm not sure that killing innocent people with huge bombs is the kind of thing that we approve of. Maybe there should be, we should at least say so. He can't even bring himself to say this is criminal. Well, it is, Joe Biden. This is criminal. Those 11 days were criminal. What happened before the 11 days was criminal. It's been criminal ever since 1948. And the criminality increased after 1967, and the occupation was declared as an ongoing thing that would actually go on forever. It was all right for successive Israeli and American governments to lie about it and pretend that there was the potential for a peace process somewhere down the line where there might be two states and where everybody could live happily ever after. But certainly neither the Israeli nor successive American nor successive UK or German or French or any of the governments ever had any intention of there ever being any kind of peace. They want completely empty land for the Israeli Jews to expand into, and everybody else can die. Go away and die. And
Gaza is the consequence of establishing an ethnically exclusive Jewish state. I mean, this necessitates Gaza in perpetuity. There's no way out of this situation. Well, unless the prisoners fight their way out.
I don't know, bro. I don't know what that's
he can make it into a golf course. Obviously, you have to get rid of the Arabs, but why not? Be
I'd ask him a lot of questions about being in Pink
a bit like the east of Scotland. Get rid of the Hebrides and all the people, and just turn it into a resort. That's obviously what to do with the third world.
Well, Thomas Friedman said, they failed to become Dubai on the Mediterranean. After Israel pulled out, they failed to be Dubai on the Mediterranean, as if they weren't under siege. Trump Tower was just going to go up in the Jabalia refugee camp, and everything was expected to be fine. And because they didn't become Dubai on the Mediterranean, they deserve to be besieged by Thomas Friedman's logic.
Well, I should just give Thomas Friedman another 20 or 30 Pulitzer Prizes, and maybe a statue in Washington on the Mall or wherever they put statues of people like that who pretend to be attempting to understand something about what's going on in the world, when actually all they're doing is feathering their own nests. Unfortunately, I have no time for Thomas.
I didn't have notifications.
Well, and also making up stories of things that cab drivers told him that actually never happened.
Really?
That's Thomas Friedman's main skill.
Well, he doesn't engage with real people except when he's, going from the airport to his compound. And so the taxi driver is his sort of liaison to reality. And so it's sort of like this ongoing joke about Tom Friedman that he's constantly quoting taxi drivers when he's not talking about some tech startup entrepreneur in the United Arab Emirates who wants to open up to Israel. And speaking of understanding things, I think we have Dr. Mate here. There he is.
All right.
So we have two legends here. We have Roger Waters and Gabor Mate, who I guess, have you all ever been in the same room together?
No, and I'm pretty nervous about it because it was
listed at my website today that I'll be on this event, and several people wrote, "You're going to be on with that notorious anti-Semite Roger Waters."
Oh!
I'm sorry to be here with this notorious anti-Semite.
You're afraid.
Dude!
You're afraid.
What about me?
Anti-Semite.
What's going to do to me, you know?
Unreal,
Yeah,
man.
Max Blumenthal too. Don't
Fucking
forget
unreal.
Notorious Anti-Semite Max Blumenthal.
Yeah, I was
Such an
number
asshole.
4 on the Simon Wiesenthal top 10 anti-Semites in 2015.
Congratulations. You must have
Yeah.
Congratulations. No, that's Cliff Richard. Eurovision 1950 something or other, I would guess.
So, Gabor, what we just got Roger's reaction to the last 11 or 12 days of it was a military escalation, and yeah, it was there were several massacres in the Gaza Strip, but Palestinians are celebrating across Palestine. They fought Israel to a stalemate. Israelis are very upset. The Israeli military intelligence command is frustrated. The Israeli press is calling this ceasefire useless and
Graham L was like
crazy.
my tweet on Twitter just now, guys.
You know, Israel
As
feels
I'm
like a
sitting here
frustrated
tweeting.
beast right now. There's footage from the old city of Jerusalem of Palestinians celebrating and
So nice
taunting
because I
Israeli
thought they were
soldiers that
ignoring me,
just
man.
2 weeks ago were attacking them, arresting them, beating them. It feels very much like David has struck a blow against Goliath within Palestine, but there are also over 230 dead, over 60 children dead. What's your reaction?
Well, you know, first of all, thank you for having me. I was one of these Zionists. I grew up, at least as a young adolescent and into my late teens, early 20s, really believing in that dream of the Jewish state. And of course, missing from that dream was the nightmare that was being inflicted on the Palestinians to create that Jewish dream. And as some of you have already said, there was no way to create an exclusive national state for one people when there was another people already living there. So all the cruelty and all the dispossession, it had to happen. And it did happen. And at that time, it was justified as, well, we were so hurt, we were fighting for survival. Okay, if that was ever true, and I no longer agree with that point of view, if it was ever true, it's certainly not true now. And when after the first Intifada, I visited the Palestinian territories, I cried every day for 2 weeks that I had actually bought into this nightmare, because even then it was horrible. The cruelties, the daily brutalities of the occupation, the injustice of it, the sheer effrontery that I, as a Jew born in Hungary, could land in Tel Aviv airport tomorrow and claim citizenship, where some Palestinian who was born there, whose ancestors were rooted in that land, can't even visit as a former refugee, as a refugee. The sheer injustice of it. And then, you know, I traveled around the Palestinian territories with the medical delegation. These days, when demonstrators in Hong Kong throw stones at the police, or demonstrators in Myanmar use slingshots against the army, the New York Times celebrates them. When Palestinian kids throw at the police, stones at the police, they're criminals. And who the army is justified to suppress. I have something in my hand here. I'm going to knock it on the table. This is one of these so-called rubber bullets that I picked up in the occupied territories that were shot at the heads of Palestinian kids. Rubber bullet, it's metal encased in sheer plastic. And so this is how fair that fight is. And so when something like the current situation happens, what people never hear about is the daily background. Daily, Palestinians in Gaza were marching to the border, demanding the right of return. Now tell me, if I have the right to return having been born in Budapest, with my ancestors maybe 2,000 years ago having lived in the Middle East. Why doesn't the Palestinians have a right to return? But when these Palestinians demonstrate peacefully, they're shot and killed, and their deaths are not even recorded in the newspapers here. So my heart really hurts when I see this happening. And I you know, people out, you know, if you support the Palestinians, you're a Hamas supporter. No, you're not. But Hamas is nothing compared to the terrorism of the Israeli government. We're talking about a government that was capable of killing 20,000 civilians in Lebanon in 1982. And then you complain about Palestinian terrorism?
Oh my God, that's a $200
So,
super chat.
What's lacking in this conversation
Oh,
is a complete lack of
SDK.
perspective.
My bad. I don't know.
One does not have to
Yeah.
support the policies of Hamas in order to stand up against this injustice.
My bad.
Nor does one have to support the policies of anybody to admire the resilience of the Palestinians as a people.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Could I go? All right, this is my question. Why haven't the Israelis, or a few of them all, figured this out?
Right.
What is it that prevents them? I mean, clearly they're hell bent, and I use the word advisedly.
It's called
they're
rage. It's
hell
called
bent
blind
on the
rage.
maintenance of this
And it's groupthink.
religious supremacy. Because the Jew is the important word in this.
Groupthink,
You know,
man.
of course,
It's a
that's
good
why
question.
I'm an anti-Semite, because I would even use the word Jew in a conversation. But I only bring it up because they have this national law which says that Jews are superior to everybody else, and so they frame their laws to make certain that they remain supremacist.
And
Well,
Kyle Kalinske
a
agreed
few
and
weeks-
said that
A few weeks ago, I
on his
got a
channel.
phone call.
The exact same
Because
thing.
somebody was collecting funds for the
We
Jewish
watched
National
that
Fund.
earlier on our
The
channel, right here.
fund buys land in Israel, Palestine, and sells it only to Jews. Now imagine if there was an institution in Canada that bought land and sold, and then sold only to whites, sold only to Caucasians, sold only to men. You would call that a racist organization.
But what am I
understand your question. So here's what, there's two streams here. It's not just religious. I mean, religion is that extremist religion is an aspect of it, but there's much more to it than that. First of all, and this may sound controversial, but part of it is Holocaust trauma. I mean, that Holocaust, that genocide really was one of the most horrible things that ever happened to any people in history. And my grandfather, my grandmother was killed in Auschwitz, and so was I nearly as an infant. And so for people to say, I'm going to do whatever I can to protect myself, and I'm going to be the biggest mother on the block, so nobody can do this to me again, that's a kind of natural reaction. I can buy into it. But there's much more to it than that. Because what you see happening in Israel, Palestine, happens in any colonial state. The same thing happened in South Africa. As soon as you have a colonial settler state that displaces the local population, pursuing those colonial policies will make you into a colonialist, make you cruel, make you unaware of the other person's point of view. Most white South Africans had no idea of what was happening in the township. And I've been to Israel, and most Israelis don't have a clue about what's happening in the Palestinian territories.
Are they debating? No, they're not debating.
It's not true that none of them
They're
are
having a
open up. There are some very
conversation,
brave voices, Israeli
They're
soldiers
just having a
who refuse to
conversation.
go to the territories, who'd rather go to jail. Israeli pilots who denounced the
And let me
bombing.
tell you something.
Israeli journalists
Roger
like
Waters asked a legitimate
Gideon
question.
Levy and Amir Haas, Israeli historians like
This
Ilan
guy's
Pappy,
answering it really good.
who are fully clear about what's happening. But most people don't want to hear. And let me tell you a story. I read the autobiography of Albert Speer. Speer was Hitler's economics minister. And he spent 40 years in Spandau jail as a war criminal. He was nearly executed, but he wasn't. And he had kind of a turnaround at some point. And he wrote in his biography, I was often asked what I knew. He said that wasn't the right question. The right question was not what I knew, but what I could have known, but chose not to.
Wow, right?
He says, because there's all kinds of hints about what was happening. that I didn't want to pick up on. I didn't want to know. And that's what's happening right now in Israel and around the world.
Right?
But this is not Hitler's Germany. You can go online.
Point.
You can listen to Jewish historians like Norman Finkelstein, Ilan Pape, Tom Segev, a whole lot of Israeli historians who've uncovered their history. Why don't people find out?
Cheers, guys.
Because
Thank you
they're
for sharing this
identified
video.
with
I hope
this
you guys are
image,
enjoying it. So
and
glad
they
you
don't
found
want
this
to let
video.
go.
Remember,
And they
Graham Allen
report
goes
them
live
too
in
much.
20 minutes.
You question it.
We're going to cover
To
that
question-
next.
You question it when your
Break
entire
from this and
identity
go to
falls
Graham
apart,
Allen.
and you have to reconstruct it, and that is absolutely
For a
terrifying.
change of gears.
And there's
Thank you
self-censorship
for
in
dropping in,
Israel
guys. Cheers.
as well. In my I hate to plug my book, but actually I love to plug it. I'm not sure, Gabor, if you're familiar with Dr. Daniel Bartal from Tel Aviv University, who helped pioneer the field of trauma studies based on his research on Jewish Israelis, particularly military veterans. And his work kind of inspired me to do this book because he wrote about how in 2009, with the election of Netanyahu, Israel had entered into a transitional phase that was very psychological. The right-wing mentality had been consolidated through this continuous indoctrination into the narrative of the exclusivist version of the Holocaust, that they will commit genocide against us if we give them 1 inch. And he found in his studies that Israeli Jews who had survived the Holocaust or experienced it themselves had far less racist attitudes than Jewish Israeli youth who were educated on the Holocaust or taken to Auschwitz to go on the March of the Living, where this was part of their indoctrination into military service. So it was, I said, I'm going to go there, live in that society as much as I can, and then convey that picture back to the U.S. because this is what will this is the trajectory Israel is on, and it's that psychology that's instilled in the youth that is making them even more right wing than Netanyahu.
Yeah, well, they grow up under a certain ideological in a certain ideological framework in which the Arab is less than human, in which the Arab has no history, in which the Palestinian has no existence other than as an enemy. Then they're indoctrinated in the army. Then they're taken on this morbid, the March of the Living, as if somehow what happened in Auschwitz could justify what they're doing to the Palestinians. And they buy into it. And, in the Jewish community here in Vancouver, it's an almost impossible conversation with a lot of people. A lot of really good people are so threatened in their identity that for them to even consider Palestinians as legitimately suffering
This is
and
true.
legitimately
I've
resisting
experienced
that
this
suffering,
myself.
it's impossible for them.
That's
And
true.
unfortunately, of course, it's not just a question of Jews or non-Jews. I mean, the media, for its own imperial purposes,
Thank you, Josh.
does not particularly support people fighting against oppression anywhere in the world, unless the oppression is done by one of our enemies, in which case we're all in favor of them, like in, say, China. But if the people fighting the oppression are fighting against our allies, then they just portray it as terrorists. I'm not the first one to say that. You guys have made the point many times on your program. Noam Chomsky talks about it very eloquently. But it's not just Jews versus Palestinians. It's also the whole imperial system against the subjects of that imperial system.
You haven't answered my question, with all due respect, Gabor. My question really was, for instance, and I'm sure you had read Miko's book, The General's Son. Miko Peled. He frames the question very eloquently in his book that his father was, I don't know, chief of staff. He was certainly an important general in 1967. And in Miko's book, he says that after the 67 war, Miko's father, among others, was suggesting, that's it now, they're crushed. We've shown everybody how tough we are and how well armed and blah, 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 blah. Now is the time when we actually make peace and do the deal. We've got 70% of historic Palestine. It's enough, blah, blah, blah. We can probably, incredible as it might seem,
sun
because
right here
it's
soon.
so inequitable, get away with letting them keep 30%, keeping the other 70% or so, making two states and going through the charade of, or maybe not a charade, but they've got this tiny country and we've got this big one and blah, 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 blah. And they didn't do it. So in Nico's book, one is given to understand that his father was surprised by Ben Gurion and the others who said, are you crazy? We're never going to give them anything, not 1 square centimeter ever. You know, Eretz or whatever, it's not Eretz, but whatever it is, Greater Israel is our goal. We are going to keep everything. And if we can get Jordan too, we'll do that as well. Okay, so but what my question really was is how do they think they're going to get away with it? So when I do my little TV appearances here and there, and particularly during this last 11 days, I find myself getting heated because I empathize with the Palestinians whose children are being killed every day, and saying, making this speech, but kind of saying, Zionism, the settler colonial experiment in Palestine, has failed. It is over. There is no way that you can get away with this. This is Israeli, sitting there in your apartment in Tel Aviv. It's done. I promise you that my voice and the voice of this choir and Max and Aaron and Gaba and Ben and whatever, our voice is growing. Your voice is just becoming more and more shrill, and more makes people want to go and get a bucket and throw up into it because you are disgusting. Your prime minister is a disgusting human being, right? And everybody can see it, and we all know it. It's untenable. So why didn't they take it in '67 and try it?
Okay.
Or even later, you know?
So, yeah, well, of course, you're absolutely right. But it's not true to say that it has failed. It's succeeding up till now.
Up till now, if you're trying.
And back in 1942, Hannah Arendt, the great German Jewish intellectual.
Yeah, I know Hannah Arendt, yeah.
So she said that it's madness to rely on the support of foreign powers and alienate the local population. It's madness, she said. She was talking about Israel-Palestine.
I understand.
And, of course, it is madness. Now, Mati Pelad is interesting. This is Nico's father. I met him. I helped to bring him to Vancouver. And Pelad, by that time, was favoring a two-state solution and negotiations. You know what happened? He wasn't allowed to speak in the Jewish Community Center because the local Jewish community deemed that he was an enemy of Israel's security. Here's this general in the Israeli general staff was an enemy of Israeli security, and the local Jewish community knew better what Israel needed. Mati Peled was quite right, of course, but it's built into the Zionist concept, so that in 1967, after that war, I did my research. I was a young student, 23 years old at the time, and I wrote an article, and I said Israel is never going to give those territories back, because the Zionist project is to take hold of biblical Palestine, which might include even much more than beyond the Jordan. So, you know what the madness is about? The madness is that they think they can do it. That's what the madness is. Now, why can they do it? Because they have always said the biggest imperial powers behind them. First of all, the British, and then the French, and then then now the Americans since '67. And I have three questions for those people that really think that Israel can get away with this. Number one, does America support the Jews because America loves the Jews? Does America support the Jews because the Jews control America? Or does America support Israel because Israel serves America's purposes? So that it's the latter one. Jews don't control America. There's a powerful Israel lobby, but they control the United States. And it's not a question of America loving anybody. It's a question that this little state, this little vicious bulldog of a state with its military prowess, is in the service of the empire. When that
On that note, Gabber, I just really quickly want to share the video that confirms this exact same argument coming from the mouth, not of a progressive supporter of Palestinian rights, but of current U.S. President Joe Biden himself. Let's not forget that this is a speech that he gave back when he was in Congress.
If we look at the Middle East, I think it's about time we stop, those of us who support, as most of us do, Israel in this body, for apologizing for our support for Israel. There's no apology to be made. None. It is the best $3 billion investment we make. Whether or not in Israel, the United States of America would have to invent an Israel to protect her interest in the region.
Well, actually, America did invent Israel. Britain and America did invent Israel, and they continue to invent them. And so what I'm saying is that the madness, Roger, is because they have this imperial support, but they puff themselves up, thinking that it's all because they're so powerful and so great and so smart. That's their madness, and they don't realize that empires don't last forever. And even if they last forever, they change their allegiances. If Israel wants to know what happens to American allies when America has no more use for them, look at the generals in Vietnam. Look at a number of dictators in Latin America. That's what happens to American allies when the empire decides, buddy, you no longer need it. So the madness is that they've puffed themselves up with this artificial sense of prowess that's totally based on imperial support. And they're going to fall big. And Hannah Arendt's little comment about the madness of relying on foreign powers far away while alienating the local population, it's going to hit them big time. And I'm absolutely convinced myself that in 200 years or even less, my fellow Jews will look back on the Zionist interlude as one of the biggest disasters in Jewish history.
Well, I hope you're right, but I hope it's a lot sooner than 200 years. I mean, because this is part of the work that we all do. And you have other work because you're a doctor and everything. And I got you. Thank you. I apologize for reducing you to that psychiatrist level.
Not only is he an anti-Semite, he also insults me personally.
Max, speaking of the imperial role here, I want to ask you about Biden and what we saw from Democrats in Congress. I'm curious your thoughts on it. You know, back in 2014 during the Israeli massacre that summer, even Bernie Sanders was defending Israel,
sunlight for a bond
and condemning Hamas. That's where he's focusing his energy.
Cheers.
Fast forward to now, it's a lot different. Democrats are expressing publicly some words of support for Palestinians, not going as far as we would like, but still expressing strong words of support. People like Chuck Schumer, who, you know, lifelong defenders of the Israeli government, say nothing.
Chuck Schumer,
you know, who says that the Palestinians don't understand the Torah, and that's why we don't have peace. Right? Didn't he say that?
he said that Palestinians don't, they deserve to be economically strangled in Gaza because they don't study Torah.
Yes.
They don't read Torah. He was speaking to an ultra-Orthodox audience.
So this time he's quiet, and I'm just wondering your thoughts on what we saw from the U.S. this time, the changing language, the increased displays of support. You know, Bernie Sanders even putting a hold on that last minute, but still putting a hold on that proposed weapon sales. And I also want to ask you your response, because now there's talk now of Biden trying to leverage reconstruction aid for Gaza in order to weaken Hamas. There's a big article in the Times today which quotes Dennis Ross, veteran U.S. negotiator who, of course, always took Israel's side. He says, in a sense, you need to put Hamas in a position where they have to choose between their rockets and the well-being of Gaza.
Well, I'll try to be quick, because I also have a question for Roger about this operation. Just we've all had our journey here as, me, you and Gabor were Jewish. Roger was a prominent artist. We all face enormous pressures to not take this position. We've faced these pressures, and we've overcome those pressures, and I think transcended the attacks and fear, and established for ourselves a platform to demonstrate to others that you can do this, that it's right. And, you know, for me, doing my book Goliath with a fairly major publisher, facing attacks from inside the nation from someone like Eric Alterman, who's just like this diminished figure now, who's just, who knows where he is. He, you know, that brought, I think, prominence to the issue of Jewish anti-Zionism, because I came out and I said, I'm an anti-Zionist. The problem here is a Jewish state. The problem here is the Israel lobby. The problem here is not just Netanyahu being a right winger. The problem is Zionism. And, you know, my parents, but my father in particular, he maybe didn't take that exact position, but he knew something was deeply wrong with the U.S. special relationship, like so many people in Washington. He didn't come out like your father is coming out now and speaking openly, but he hosted a book party for me at my parents' home in Washington. And I was
This is fantastic. I just realized, you guys, this is from May 21st. So it was almost a month ago, 3 weeks ago. I'm so sorry. I thought this was from a couple of hours ago. I think they're doing this again, but this was the link that came up, and I am so sorry, man. This is the wrong one. But the good news is Graham Elwood's going live right now, so let's go find him. Because I said as soon as Graham goes live, we're going to him. So let's go to Graham. I just feel bad that oh, Copper Cab is live right now. While we're waiting for Graham to go live, let's watch a little Copper Cab. This is one of my favorite podcasters, guys. This guy is so freaking over the top. Oh my God, he's so fucking funny. I'll be over here refreshing this.
That's your new sex toy. Mima likes to choke and spit on my cock.
Are you done, Jeff? Do I need to get your bucket? That's it.
Don't leave. Don't you fucking leave.
If a single person,
he will leave.
The next fucking person that comments on my stream, the next person that interrupts me in my class, you will be going on the big board. I, the teacher, will write you up. Are we clear?
Oh.
Stop.
Copper Cab is the best. You know, Copper Cab.
What does it say about me?
Copper Cab's got, let's see how many viewers right now.
It says, and I quote, quiet.
167.
Please. Quiet, please. I am asking you nicely. It is a command, but it is a kind command. When we are watching a video, oh my God.
Lives that matter more. White lives, straight lives, male lives, binary lives, especially men, conservative men, Donald Trump. Lives that matter less. Black lives, gay lives, Asian lives, non-binary lives, liberal lives, Joe Biden, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez.
Cuts him off and he gets so mad, and it's so funny. Wait for Graham to go live here.
Are you done now? Do not be rude to me, and do not be rude to them. When you interrupt me, you are not only interrupting me, you are interrupting them. When you look, people, do not be offensive, okay? When you offend me, that's a hate crime. Now I'm going to press play. Let's play a quiet game, okay? Okay? When the video is playing, you have to be quiet. No interruptions. If you do, you lose. Shh. Everyone put shh emojis in the live chat. Now, let's play.
So what's going on down there?
None of your business.
I have had this many times.
It's this fixation to know they have to know because what they see is unclear.
People don't even bother.
We're gonna go to Graham Elwood here in a second. We're just gonna enjoy this for a minute until Graham goes live.
There's another video.
Graham said 7 o'clock, and I'm supposed to be doing bong hits in the sunlight. You know, but you guys, this is Copper Cab,
I want to show you again. I don't know if any
and he's live right now,
you haven't seen it.
and he's fucking
This is
hilarious.
Ari, Gwendolyn, and Brinifer. They are in a polyamorous relationship, and they all parent
They are so
Hazel and
beautiful.
Sparrow.
Wow.
We have a 2-year-old anti-gender baby and a 10-year-old who is non-binary.
They have chosen
I
not
love it. Oh my gosh.
We don't know it yet. It's something that Sparrow's gonna have to figure out and then tell us.
Okay. Let's watch the video.
Gender
Let me
fluid
pass the
freaks
fucking
deserve
video.
to be bullied, born
Yeah.
all until they jump into traffic. LGBT
Let me
suicide
pause the video.
needs to be 100% LGBT lives. Don't matter. Put them all in the gas chambers and make their flesh into soap so they can be useful to society.
Is he for real?
Mima choking and
Well,
spitting.
he
Face
cross-dresses.
turning red.
Yeah,
About to pass out. Gasping
he
for
wears
air.
makeup and
Now
wears
turning blue, choking on my cock.
ladies' clothing.
Spit Mima. Oh yeah, that's my girl. Spit on it, girl. Now breathe.
The
Why
fuck,
did you almost fall apart just now?
the fucking thing on the camera just flipped down. That's so funny. That is so funny. His camera just did that. There, he sees it.
Are you done now? Jeff and Guts, I just wrote you up. Be quiet.
I wrote you up. I just wrote you up. Come on, Graham. Where are you, buddy?
but their parenting approach is controversial.
I have literally received death threats.
So these people.
Parenting approach is controversial.
Hold on. So these people, okay, have received death threats.
Graham's
Right?
live. Okay,
Because
Graham's
they're
live,
not
guys. We're going to Graham.
Male or female, like.
All right. Let's see. We've got 12 people. Yeah. Oh, bitch. Bitch, bitch, bitch. Bye, Joe. I'm going to sit here and jam out for 8 minutes while Graham gets ready to go live. You know, it's not cool. He said 7 p.m., then he put the fucking timer on. What's the matter, Joe? You don't want to dance? You don't want to dance along with the rest of us? They're going to talk El Salvador. Oh! They're talking Bitcoin with Rosie Tran, Joe. Joe, the show is about Bitcoin. Don't leave. How awesome are we? Hey Joe, how awesome are we? We're gonna watch Graham Elwood and Rosie Tran talking about El Salvador's Bitcoin. Joe, we're talking about Bitcoin. Rosie Tran does technical analysis. Rosie Tran does technical analysis. Chris P says Nate's got it. Chris P says Nate's got it. What'd I do? Where'd it go? Chris P's in the chat saying Nate's got it. Chris P says Nate's got it. Ooh, girl, it's gonna go live. We're all gonna watch and have fun together. Yeah. Hey, Enoch, what's up, buddy? They're probably gonna do technical analysis of Bitcoin, Joe. You know? Listen, Joe, the market got a little crazy. I really want to hear what she has to say about Bitcoin. She knows what the fuck she's talking about. She's been involved in Bitcoin for a long time. You know, I've only got into it since February, bro. And I really want to hear what she has to say. I would think that you'd be patient, chill, have a whatever you're having, right? Give your wife a kiss, tell her you love her. And, you know, let me do a dab. It's 7:10. Hey, it's 7:10. Oh, we're gonna get high. It's 7:10. This music is really hard to follow. I'm having a hard time. I don't know what the timing is on the chain. See, it's tricky. All right, here we go. Here we go. Everybody, now we're gonna do a big dab together. Share this video around on social media. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for sharing this, seriously. It's fucking clogged. I was all pumped up. That's okay. I'm not blowing 710. I got a bowl ready, my friend. Cheers. Happy 710. Man, this song is just playing over and over again. It never ends. Hip hop, hippie do the hip hop, and you don't stop. Rock it to the bang bang, boogie to up jump, the boogie to the boogie to the boogie to beat. Hip hop, hippie to the hip hop, the hippie to the hip hop, the hip hop to the hip hop, hippie to hip hip. Hippity hip hop, hippity hip. I want him to address the idea of a $70,000 Bitcoin to the same stock market. Okay, hey man, I'll fucking chat at Graham Elwood and I'll ask him that. He's going live right now. I'll ask him that. They're cool, bro. They'll address the crowd. There's only 58 people watching right now, homie. You know, if you want a direct link, here's a direct link to his live chat. If you want a live chat in there.
What is up,
Yo.
citizens of Gotham? How are you? My name is Graham Elwood. You are watching the Political Vigilante. It's a little after 7 o'clock Pacific time on Thursday, June 10th. Hello, everybody in the chat.
Shave the knuckles for
here.
justice!
Tweet Kate, Gamer for Life. The gang's all here, everybody. Thank you for watching on YouTube, and of course, everybody watching on Facebook Live and over on the Rockfin, baby. That's how you can support what we're doing. Thank you, Bill Nye Highest Guy, Doc Terminus, and Lucky Burrito A&M, and everybody else over at the Rockfin. Hello. Hit the like button, folks. Share this out on your social media.
Oh, yeah, like.
Rosie Tran is going to be joining us in a little bit, probably closer to 7:30.
Okay, 15 minutes, buddy.
Yeah. We were going to do Ron tonight, but he had a thing that came up, couldn't do it. So
Ron,
but I wanted to bring Rosie on anyway to talk about what happened in El Salvador with them. I did a video on it last night, but adopting Bitcoin and what this is going to mean, and I wanted to bring Rosie on, who we've had her on the show numerous times.
I finished my
talk about
coffee,
crypto and Bitcoin in general. So that'll be really good. I did have a good Thursday. I got a lot of work done in the morning. Ron and I locking down tour dates.
That's great.
I don't want to tease anybody, but Saturday, September 11th.
Hey, Gamer for Life. Yes.
Tickets will be available probably by the end of the month. Ticket links are going to be up probably by the end of the month, beginning of July, for this tour that starts in September. It's like San Francisco, September 11th, Sacramento, Sunday the 12th. We were trying to get Sacramento on that Friday, but none of the venues lined up correctly. Everyone's trying to figure it out. So we will be in NorCal Saturday, Sunday. Those ticket links are coming soon. We're locking down Tempe, Arizona is locked down.
Whoa, man, I might go
weekend
visit
in
them.
October. Looks like we're going to do
In
Tempe. We're going to
Sacramento.
try to get Tucson. So it's all coming together. My young Gothamites. No Denver show, unfortunately. Just the way the timing schedule is, I think like Denver, Colorado in general, might be tough. We're not gonna be able to get to it. We're gonna do the West Coast in September, and then in the first weekend of October, we're gonna do Arizona, and then we're gonna fly to Chicago around the 8th or 9th of October, and then we're gonna hit the Midwest, the East Coast, South, the Carolinas, Florida, Atlanta, Mid-Atlantic states, and then up through there. So, Wisconsin, Minnesota, places we've done before. So Colorado's a little bit of a tough, because we've got to get, obviously we would do Denver, but then trying to get other venues in other cities like either Boulder or Colorado Springs or something like that. So Denver might be a little tougher. And then we'll probably do just a separate one-off in Texas, maybe November or so. We'll just go to Texas and hit Dallas, Houston, Austin, maybe San Antonio. We've never done San Antonio. We're working on Boston. We're having some. The venue we used last time, unfortunately, is one of the venues that didn't make it through the pandemic, which kind of sucks. And so I don't know. I think they're slow opening there, so we're just not getting a lot of response from various venues in Boston. But we are going to do New York City. We got that lined up. We're going to be doing DC. So if Boston doesn't happen, we'll do Boston and New England probably beginning part of next year or something like that. What is up, everybody? Yeah, we're going to talk about Elizabeth Warren's ridiculous comments. Let me actually see if I can find that, what Liz Warren said. God.
Hey, Phil, what's
So
up,
dumb.
buddy?
Let's see if I can find that. See if I can get this.
Let me see if I can get this lined up. For when Rosie joins us. Rosie Tran, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, here we go.
Us.
We're going to get right into the conversation. At least it's 10 minutes now. Yeah, that's right, 10 minutes.
Oh.
Look at him, he's so weird. That's not good. Is that your new theme music, Graham? Someone said. That's funny.
This keep happening. Why does this keep happening? Why does this keep happening? It shouldn't be happening. We shouldn't be having a sound issue because this cable is making it. Doesn't make any fucking sense at all.
No, it doesn't make sense. That was
See what this dummy's gonna say.
A digital reading. It sounds like a digital encoder reading mismatch to me.
This is such a fucking problem.
Technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Hold on. I'll be right back.
That sucks. Man, that sucks. Holy shit. Chris P says it's karma. I was a bad man. That's funny. Not at all, Chris. Not at all, buddy. Not at all, buddy. Not at all. He's picking up his neighbor's phone. He's picking up something. But there's some guy said he wanted me to unblock him. Yeah, I need to unblock some people, man. Let me do that while we're sitting here waiting. I got some people to unblock. Let's see if we can do that. Oops. Let's see here. All right. Chris P. Unblocked. um. This other guy. Where is he? He's got to be right in here. What does it do? You can't tell where the... He must still be on standby. Dude, I just got rid of that one. Oh. It's just really weird, man. Oh. Maybe that? No? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Heavy P. Cool, I was looking for that. All of the, where's the fucking, oh, I guess I gotta go to YouTube and unblock over there too. But, that should be everybody on the, unblock me from the main channel. Okay, I'm gonna go look. Now, all the Billy Valentine stuff is unblocked. Alright, let's go over to the main channel on YouTube now. He's still on hold, this is great timing to do this. Let me see. Main channel. Go here. Go there. Go to settings, right?
Let me know, everybody. I gotta do this test. Can you hear this? I'm gonna share this real quick. And just tell me if you can hear this Liz Warren babbling nonsense. Can you guys hear this? Can you hear me and can you hear Liz Warren talking?
Barely.
So you cannot hear Liz Warren. Let's see.
Crypto is a lousy investment. Unlike, say, the stock market,
How about now? I'm perfect.
has no consumer protection.
You
As a result, honest investors
can hear it barely. Is this better? I just increase.
are at the mercy of fraudsters.
My audio is good, but
Outlawed in the case of ordinary stock. But they
no to Liz.
crypto trading. One study found that the level of price manipulation in cryptocurrency
Let's try. Let's try this. That's going to screw my microphone up.
Chris P.
Ah, let's
Boom.
try this. Speaker. Now. Oh, no.
Almost.
How about that?
And third, crypto has become a haven for illegal activity.
I can hear it. It's just quiet.
Theft, drug trafficking, ransom attacks, and other illegal activity.
Can you guys hear that?
Not as anywhere near as loud as you.
Yeah, not. I don't need your opinion of her. Can you hear her, Kate? Can we hear?
She sucks. What's her opinion of her?
Can we hear Liz Warren saying bullshit? Still low. All right.
So just in the past few weeks,
Okay.
cryptocurrencies made it possible for hackers to collect ransoms.
God, she's so fucking stupid. I can't even listen to this. She's so dumb. Last week, hackers. All right. Well, I guess we won't use that clip. All right. Let's try this real quick. We're going to bring Rosie on. Get rid of Liz Warren just spewing nonsense. All right. Let's bring Rosie.
Hey, can you hear me, girl?
Yes, I can. Let me just let's make sure we can hear. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. I want to make sure my audience can hear you all right.
Okay, so I am a comedian. I'm a crypto enthusiast, investor. I've been talking about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency on my podcast since 2013, although I wish I would have invested a lot more back then. But I'm really glad I saw you playing the Liz Warren clip, and I'm really glad that you were talking about that because the misinformation online is
perfect. All
okay.
right, we're gonna get into that in a second.
Okay.
All right, great. Can you hear Rosie loud and clear? Awesome. All right, good. We iron that out. I gotta figure out this clip thing, but we'll figure that out. Okay. Let's see if this is better. There we go.
There I am with my plant in the background.
Nice plant in the background. You're very earth friendly. All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching The Political Vigilante. It is always great to have funny comedian, my friend, and also one of our regular crypto guests, Rosie Tran, on the show. Hey, Rosie. How's
I'm
everything
so
going?
excited to be here. Good, good. I actually took a Twitter hiatus this morning because of all the crazy Elizabeth Warren stuff. I was getting too stressed out. I'm pretty good with social media, but I actually got too stressed out because the misinformation that was flying was crazy, and I felt the need to defend it. And I just was like, you know what, I'm going to take a break because I need some mental sanity. But the central banker lies are being spread, and people are believing them apparently.
So let's talk about that. We're going to get into El Salvador in a second, in a little bit, but let's talk about Liz Warren, who I was just watching part of her video, and she's spewing
all of this nonsense that we've already talked about and we've already debunked. I've debunked it. You've debunked it. I mean, everyone in the crypto space.
Okay, but not just that. The clip that she's playing. There's another clip from it where she's talking to an expert who is a Harvard economist about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And guess who funds him, Graham? I just want you to take a big guess.
Oh, let me think. Wow, is it? I don't know, Goldman Sachs or?
It wasn't Goldman Sachs, but he has it in his actually Twitter handle. I'll find it and send it to you. But he is actually funded, of course, by Wall Street and the big banks. And so, when people, you would think a Harvard economist would be, a source from academia, would be giving neutral and information based on facts. But he's funded. He's funded by the banks. It's in his Twitter handle, and he's part of the central banking system. So Elizabeth Warren is getting her information from someone who supports the old legacy system. And again, when we want to talk about crime and money laundering, the US dollar is number one, still above cryptocurrency.
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's Liz Warren is such a fake progressive. We saw that in the primary. I mean, she's like fake. She's a fake progressive, and that whole all of her nonsense. I'm deliberately trying to not shake Bernie's hand, like making that whole stunt. And of course, she lost, and Biden gave her nothing in his cabinet, which is hilarious. She is this fake fighter for the people and taking on the big banks. I mean, most notably, we can go back to 2017. When there was these clips of her, reading the riot act to the head of Wells Fargo, right? When Wells Fargo was doing those scams, opening fake accounts, that guy left with a $120 million severance plan. Yeah. She didn't prosecute him. She didn't do a damn thing. She just gave him a stern talking to. So this is her sort of role as this imposter to let people believe, well, Liz Warren, she's fighting for us. So she says Bitcoin's a fraud. I really believe it. And it's like, it's all that crap we've talked about. It's used for money laundering and fraud. And it's like, oh, the US dollar, no one's ever used it for bad things.
Again, I don't know if you know this, Graham. She used to be a Republican. She switched to the Democratic Party. So we know that she's already, flip-flopped. She started as a Republican. And now apparently she's in bed with the big banks because her crypto expert, again, is funded by Wall Street and the big banks. So how is that a crypto expert? Are you talking to people in the cryptocurrency community? You're not, because if you spoke to anyone in the cryptocurrency community, you would know that saying that Bitcoin is bad for the environment is, one of the biggest lies. It's actually, now they're going towards clean miners. The technology is evolving as we speak into renewable miners, into clean miners, into we know that Bitcoin and crypto miners lean towards renewable energy because you can mine anywhere, and a lot of times wind and solar energy is lost in long distance. So it leans towards renewable energy. So we know about all these things, and they keep feeding the lies because they want you. They're scared. They're scared that they're going to lose that market share, and they're quickly losing that market share.
Yeah, we know who she works for. I mean, she got funding for her presidential campaign from Wall Street, and she says this with it, and it's a bad investment. Like, they're pump and dump schemes, and like
crypto and Bitcoin is the best performing asset class of the past 20 years, but it's a scam. So
and. There's no scams in Wall Street. Wall Street is so above board. It's just like, I mean, I guess she's just preying on the uninformed.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
That's what she's doing. That's what the corporate media does, is they prey upon the uninformed and say some things and get some buzzwords and get some quick clips and go. And so they're obviously afraid of it because it's going to be the world's reserve currency, and they're going to lose all their power, and then she loses her power.
That is the most awesome thing about the decentralized system, is that the governments can't have power anymore the way that they have now. And so the corporations and governments cannot be in bed because the people own the money, and so that is really, really scary to the power structures, Graham. And again, we've talked about this before. What about the petrodollar, right? Our dollar is literally based on trading petroleum and on the blood of, all these people. So, when they say it's bad for the environment, well, what about, you mentioned it, what about the military, one of the biggest polluters across the world?
The number one, the United States military is the number one polluter in the world. And Liz Warren she voted to give Trump military budget increases when he was president. And she'll do it for Biden as well. So it's astounding to me that they can say this crap with a straight face, just bold-faced lie about Bitcoin, and it's bad for the environment.
And not just that, I'm not delusional. There are some Bitcoin miners that are still, heavily using electricity and stuff like that. But the fact is, this doesn't compare to the petrodollar and how dirty it is. This doesn't compare to the entire banking system and how dirty it is. This doesn't compare to the military industrial complex and how dirty that is. And not just that, but this is a technology that can lift over 1 billion people out of poverty, they're estimating. And so don't you think that you would want to lift, if you're a progressive, you would want to lift 1 billion people out of poverty? Not when it means that you're losing power.
Yeah, and that's the thing that these Liz Warren and the Bill Maher's of the world, they don't care, they don't think about, or they don't even take the time to research of all of as you and I have talked about. The first time you came on my show a year ago, you talked about the 2.5 billion people on the planet that are unbanked.
Exactly.
And Bitcoin is going to pull them out of poverty. I mean, El Salvador is going to pull there's 70% of El Salvadorians don't have access to
she's not blocked on the main
banking and financial tools, and now they will.
Or they have access to banking and financial tools, but they're heavily punished.
Thanks for the unblock. You're welcome, bro.
So they're being charged 5%, 10%
I unblocked everything, I think.
On their own money, again, to make transactions, because the poor in this world are unfortunately punished.
Yeah, I mean, I remember talking to like a bank manager years ago who basically said, if you've got less than $1,000 in our bank, we don't want you here, and we're going to hit you with fees and crap because there's no upside for us. So that's who Liz Warren is fighting for, is the big bank. She's not fighting for working class people. And all this stuff has been roundly debunked, like time and time again. And all these preposterous claims that it uses all this energy. All right, then we should all get rid of our computers and smartphones, Liz. Like, you remember when you were taking those dumb selfies? You didn't even know what a selfie was? Like, during your failed campaign? It's so egregious.
It's so egregious, and it's really sad because, again, one of the reasons I took a little miniature Twitter break is because I was having people tweet at me just constant misinformation. And, I'm running my podcast, I'm doing other things, educating people, and I don't have time to respond to every, Tom, Dick, and Harry that's misinformed. But they're really affecting people because people believe this stuff. A lot of people do believe this stuff. Unfortunately, a lot of people think that they're not, that crypto is too complicated for them to understand. So they see these people and they say, I trust Liz Warren, I like her, she's a progressive, and she wouldn't steer me wrong. And unfortunately, once you dig a little bit deeper and look under the cover, she's bought and paid by Wall Street.
Oh, bought and paid for. I mean, like, just 100%. I mean, and it's...
And this is how we know, because we have a progressive, again, I'm putting quotations, president, and we have progressives in charge of the government right now and what policies are being pushed forward. I'm not sure if you've seen the $6 trillion bill Biden put forth, but I didn't see universal health care in there. I didn't see UBI. I didn't see any loan forgiveness or anything. And I did see money going towards Israel for the military-industrial complex over there. I did see, I don't know, many people don't read those things. And the progressives have control of everything. And the policies that they're pushing through are beyond insane.
It is madness. I mean, like, literally Biden on his first day of office through executive order could have given us Medicare for all, student debt forgiveness. I mean, he could have just done that with the swoop of a pen, and won't do that. And then, like you say, there's these, multiple $1 trillion stimulus that all, again, Israel's still going to get $3 billion a year. So we're giving them money to then buy our weapons to then bomb the shit out of poor Palestinians and not be held accountable. And don't
forget about the $400 a year that comes out of every United States family to pay the sugar lobby. I mean, the sugar industry. So every taxpayer pays about $400 a year in subsidies to the sugar industry to make us sad.
It's unreal. And again, Bitcoin, the reason they're so threatened by it is because Bitcoin empowers people. Bitcoin, you know,
It does. It's a massive wealth transfer to the everyday little guy, and the banks are horrified.
Yeah, they're very horrified, and that's why you've got Liz Warren. You know, it's just unbelievable. She does this whole thing and just goes, "It's a bad investment." I'm just like,
J31487. Is that you, Jay?
Like 20.
Is that you,
I
Josh?
put this out there when Bill Maher said his nonsense last month, that, you know, there was articles saying in the year 2000 saying the internet's probably going away. Like websites, it's a fad and they're not going to last anymore. And just like,
it's for pornographers.
Right. It's just that's all the internet is now, is just for spam and pornographers. And it's just like, it's so crazy. Every time there's a drug bust, and they always show all the drugs on the table and the guns, and then there's always stacks of American dollars. Like,
exactly. And actually, the awesome thing about Bitcoin and crypto is that the decentralized ledger. So one of the ways that they were able to track this hack money was because everything's transparent, and nobody talks about that. And it's because they don't want the money to be transparent. I can't bribe a politician if it's on a public ledger.
Yeah, exactly. The hackers were dumb. They left their info. They didn't. So everybody that's how they tracked them. It's like, that's the upside of Bitcoin. We know, and the blockchain. We all see it. We all have access to it. They don't want. You're absolutely right. They don't want transparency because, you know, if I try to give money to a corrupt politician like Liz Warren, and I use my Bitcoin wallet and I send her, and people can see, oh wow, we know this wallet.
Yeah, it'll be eventually traced back.
Yeah. It'll be eventually traced back, and like, just like we're gonna find out that Elon Musk has been buying Bitcoin this whole time, and.
But Graham, you have to ask yourself, why are the politicians against a system of transparency? I mean, any person, like when you ask that question, you're like, what are they hiding? Why are they against a system of transparency, a public system where everyone has to be held accountable? Don't you think that's something progressives would want, quote unquote progressive politicians, transparency?
Yeah, well, it shows you A, they don't want it, and B, they're not progressive. It's just like a bumper sticker. They're the progressives in the Democratic Party are the coexist sticker on the Prius that flips you off in traffic. Is basically who they are. So it's preposterous, you know, like, to listen to this. But there's enough people that'll go, oh boy, I don't know much about it. You talk to somebody, and I'm sure you do too, you know, talk to people, friends, family, who don't know that much about it, and they hear these little clips and they're like, oh, it's bad, it's a scam, and they keep trying to do it. But the thing that's interesting is, you know, I feel like they've been trying to manipulate the price down to below 25,000 so they can buy up even more of it. And it just can't, because there's too many people like you and I who have been paying more attention now. I've been paying attention for a year now. You've been paying attention for several years. And, you know, the price goes down and it's like, oh, buy the dip. And then there's no way that the Liz Warren video, they came out, what, yesterday or this morning or something like that?
It was yesterday or this morning.
It was yesterday. Weird that came right after El Salvador announces it's going to make Bitcoin legal tender.
Not just El Salvador, multiple South American countries have said that they are open to crypto, open to Bitcoin. El Salvador actually started the domino block, because I believe up to 5 or 6 countries are now open, looking into it, excited about it. And actually, Graham, these are the countries that have the most to gain. They have had really corrupt puppet politicians that were put in place by guess who? The U.S. government.
Good old U.S. of A.
Good old U.S. of A. And the United States of America was using our influence and debt to control those puppet governments by saying, hey, we'll loan you money, but, you know, you have to play by our rules, and our rules are you have to, you know, enslave your people and all these other things. And a lot of those people have pride in their country. The president of El Salvador is proud to be El Salvadoran, and they're done with being under the United States' thumb and control. And so crypto is a way for them to take control of their currency finally and have some independence. And the U.S. does not like that.
No, they do not. And that's why Liz Warren did that literally less than 24 hours after El Salvador announced that.
Because the news headlines were repressed. I don't know if you noticed.
Oh yeah, that we had to find out. It wasn't in regular news. We all found out. I mean, I found out about it on social media. I didn't. No one like CNN wasn't talking about it or anyone like that because they look. The big banks buy a lot of ad time on the corporate media, and that's how politicians like Liz Warren are allowed to stay in existence.
And don't you think, Graham, that an entire country taking on Bitcoin as a legal tender would be major front page news?
I would think it would be. But you see how sophisticated the misinformation campaign is.
Yes.
So El Salvador announces this, and they do it. It's a super majority. It was 62 out of 84 people. They only needed 43 votes, and they got 62. Right? So they won that 62 to 22. There was a super majority they got. And this is groundbreaking, revolutionary news. So the misinformation campaign works two ways. One, they just don't cover it. They act like it didn't happen. Two, then Liz Warren suddenly comes out to give this big speech. The Hill's got it. It's tweeted all over the place. Like the president of El Salvador came out to say, I mean, it was he did it publicly. He said he was on this like Bitcoin forum, and he came in and started talking to people on it. And because I was watching the replay of it on this show, Altcoin Daily, they played it last night, and he said, this is how we're going to do this. And what he pointed out is that now it's required. That's the big, because right now, if you're running a business, and this is in El Salvador or America or anyway, and you want to accept Bitcoin, that's your choice, but you're not required to do it. You are required by law to accept US dollars, right? If you're in El Salvador prior to this bill, you are required by law to take El Salvadorian money, which I think is the US dollar anyway. But like now they are required by law. Every single business, car wash,
on the main channel,
McDonald's, selling car, wherever, man, used car salesmen, malls, they have to accept Bitcoin. And
that is like one of the biggest news is, I think, from in the crypto space. It's legitimizing. You can't say it's a scam if a country is using it as legal tender. You know, do you say the peso was a scam? Do you say the dong or the yen or scams? No.
Well, this is the thing why you see how sophisticated the propaganda is. That's why the crux of Liz Warren's lies were it's bad drug money. Well, that feeds into all the drug cartels in Central and South America. So now they're going to push this El Salvador's some Bitcoin drug cartel country now. They're all corrupt, and good old white America, keep your money safe with the US dollar. Don't do that drug cartel, Latin money thing down there with Bitcoin. That's the vibe. It's part of the, it's part of just white colonialism.
It's so sad because I think the countries that are going to have more Bitcoin and crypto adoption, mainstream adoption, are actually countries with weaker currency because they've seen the corruption. Turkey has seen it, Venezuela has seen it, and they know what can happen when you give the central banks too much power. They will inflate your currency into oblivion until you're in indentured servitude. And unfortunately, that's what Joe Biden and Trump are doing. Trump in the past and Joe Biden now, is that they are just printing and printing, they're devaluing, and they're lying. The official government numbers say inflation is at 2%, I believe, even though they printed more money in the last 6 months than they've printed in the last 11 years, Graham. And I'm not an economist, but that sounds like a little something fishy is happening.
No doubt.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you see gas in California is about $4.25 a gallon right now, so don't tell me there's no inflation. The costs of goods are all going up. But to get back to your point of the IMF has been, the IMF is basically
it's a mob organization.
It is. It is a bank mob. I mean, they just like a mob guy would come to your business and say, "Oh, I'll pay me for protection," and then when you don't, they burn your business down. The IMF leans on these countries all the time. We saw this when the IMF threatened Ecuador to withhold a $500 million loan unless they gave up Julian Assange, what they eventually did. I mean, this is how they do it. And I think El Salvador, I don't know that much about this president, but he seems like a younger guy. He seems like he wants to empower his citizens. And now they can't.
They don't want that. They don't want empowered citizens. They want Africa poor. They want South America poor because then you are dependent on the Western monetary system. You're dependent on the big banks. You're dependent on, they make massive amounts of interest off of the poor. In fact, they probably make more interest off the poor than the wealthy. When you look at these transaction fees that they're charging poor people, and like you said, the bank manager you spoke to, if you're poor, we're just gonna, you're a risk to us, and we're just gonna charge you into oblivion because we really don't care about you.
Yeah, and what this does is El Salvador passing this bill overwhelmingly, right?
Yes.
And it goes into effect in 90 days. So by September, El Salvador and what it's going to do, and one of the things he said, and is it's going to spur innovation, because that's part of it too. When everybody's just barely working to get by, nobody's innovating anything. It's like America doesn't innovate anymore. We're not leading the world in any of the good categories. We lead the world in handgun deaths and people dying because they don't have health insurance, and we have the worst infant mortality rate, or the highest infant mortality rate of any industrialized nation. The only nations that are like worse than us in these bad categories are like developing or third world countries. I mean, and so El Salvador is going to become one of these countries that is going to lead the way. And as you've already stated, it's a matter of time. It's the dominoes. We're going to see Guatemala, Costa Rica. We're going to see all these countries just go, Venezuela is going to go, we're done, because we've been sanctioning the shit out of them because they have #1 oil reserves in the world. All these countries are going to go.
We use our big system to punish people that don't want to play our game. And our game is rich white people and rich, elitists basically putting their foot on everyone else's neck. And the scary thing